Well, let's cross now to Hampton Court Palace and speak with our political editor, Christopher Hope. Christopher, on the one hand, the Prime Minister has a good news story to say today. Record high investment into this country, some might say despite Brexit. On the other hand, he made some interesting comments about migration. You were there. What was the mood in the room?
Well, the room is one of comfortable wealth. People here are big investors. We had about counted eight cabinet ministers, Jeremy Hunt in the front row. Everyone here at the very top level trying to do the best for this country in post-Brexit Britain. I mean, that was the idea behind it. And the PM there is talking about people he wants to attract here. The net migration round last week, 722,000 arriving here, or 700,000 or so arriving here in the year to December 2022 is about a big number, a big net number. 1.2 million over 2 years to June 2023. What to do about that? Well, he's saying on a certain level, a high level, we need the entrepreneurs, the inventors, the wealth creators to come here. And that goes back to the central point about who is allowed to come here. Now, the visa, under the UK visa here, you can come here if you can command a salary of more than 26,000. People like Boris Johnson, Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary, want to increase that to £40,000. And that's perhaps what the PM is saying there. He said we want to have highly skilled people here on a higher level, and he can understand the concern that it might be to put pressure on communities and GP surgeries and the rest public services. But overall, as you said, the PM here is to unveil, they say, is £29 billion worth of spending. Some of that money is over a longer period. I mean, it certainly is more than 10 billion, certainly. There's an attempt here to copy almost what the French do in the Elysee Palace, to show off the best of Britain to the world's investors. We had Angela Lloyd Webber, Thomas Heatherwick, the designer, other people trying to impress on investors that we are a great place to invest. And the figures do show that despite all the gloom mongers, we are a place that does attract new greenfield investment from big investors. There's also been some talk here, Tom, you might like this, about AI. We've heard from the Prime Minister. He's quite... Yeah, you like this. It's just for you, Tom. I've made a note of this for you. He's very keen on a personal AI tutor. A personal AI tutor for every pupil in the country. He thinks that rather than tipping money into the system, he thinks that by spending money maybe he raised the opportunity of having an AI tutor for every kid in the country to try and lift attainment. That's one for you.
An AI tutor for every child?
Well, it's the personalised learning stuff. I mean, it's going to be almost like having sort of a one-to-one teaching relationship. That's going to be better teaching than even, students who go to the poshest school in the countries get. That's remarkable. And the Prime Minister does seem to... He did a big chunk of his speech about people, about education, and that also went into this high-skilled migration point as well. I suppose human capital is such an important thing, especially when we're looking at pretty low growth rates for the next few years.
Exactly right. I mean, exactly right. So he's trying to this high-level group of investors. I mean, he's trying to say, look, let's try and invest our money carefully. I mean, on the issue of an AI tutor for every pupil, his point was, in an analog world, that is not possible because the cost of human capital is so expensive. But on the AI side, everyone's got a phone in their pockets. You can generate individual learning programs for children if they want to, and that can affect those on low incomes as much as those on high incomes families. So that's the idea behind it. But yeah, there's no question that migration is here. I just asked Lord Johnson, whether he thought that by cutting net migration it might harm the economy. He dodged that and said his job is to bring in investment, not to worry about that big issue. But he recognises that right now it's a big issue for the Tory party, and we'll hear more from James Cleverly, the Home Secretary, in Parliament this afternoon.
Yes, considering the government want to get as many people as they can back into work, perhaps the rhetoric should be more about upskilling people here, although he did mention the importance of lifelong learning and upskilling throughout your lives, etc., etc. I just worry that, for a lot of people interpret this as, we'll just have people from abroad to fill these gaps, we won't focus on the people who are already here. He needs to get that right. He's losing trust on migration, I think, or some would think. Thank you very much indeed, Christopher Hope, our political editor there, who's been at this summit for us.